Am I going to talk about WAFWA? Oh, okay, sorry about that. WAFWA this year in the summer meeting is going to be in Anchorage. Yeah, the dates are July, well, for the directors, it starts on the 16th and it goes through the 21st of July. Because of the expense, there's a lot of state agencies that are struggling. We have people on staff that are either actively involved in a lot of subcommittee work that happens at WAFWA. At this point, I think there are going to be just 2 of us going, maybe 3 at the most. One of the Rich's costs are going to be paid through WINTI, the Western Trout Initiative. So we've always sent at least 1 commissioner, and that's what I would recommend. It's going to be very expensive. In fact, whoever's selected to go here, we need to make reservations ASAP. When we made plane reservations a month ago, I waited 3 days in trying to get the right flight, and it went up from $590 to $720. And the closer you get, the more expensive the plane ticket becomes. And the room is $220 this year. It's expensive to go to Alaska. Anyway, I'm not sure we have enough money budgeted for a commissioner this year, but I think we're more than halfway there. We probably can find internally. If I know that there was some discussion whether there should be 2 commissioners. 2 commissioners would require us to go to IFC and request dollars through IFC. I checked with the governor's office, and they told me in no uncertain terms that would not happen. That they would not approve the department going to IFC to request additional out-of-state travel funds for the Senate Second Commissioner. So that's what I know.
I had an interest from another commissioner to go, and where he would pay his own transportation there, which is the biggest hunk of it, or a big hunk of it, you know. And who went?
Winter.
Okay, Commissioner Rainey, you went.
Oh, this past
You went
winter.
last, okay.
And I believe Mr. Cavan went the last summer.
I went last summer,
Okay, so last summer.
and I'll comment on that.
Okay, Commissioner Cavan.
Well, I attended WAFWA last summer, and it was down in Southern California, so the expense wasn't nearly as bad as being in Alaska. But one of the things I came back with, and I reported on when I did come back, was that you really need more than 1 person to go. I went down there with one purpose in mind, looking at the agenda, and when I got there, my priorities changed a little bit, and I went to some other sessions that I thought were a higher priority once I got down there. So there's a lot going on, and it's really difficult for one commissioner to cover it. So my recommendation then was to send at least 2. My recommendation is still that, but now we have these budget constraints, so that's another story. But it's really important that we have commission. Personally, I think it's really important that we have commission participation in WAFWA. And it's a training opportunity. If we could send more than 1, it's team building. It's all kinds of different things that we can go and talk to other commissioners, see how things are done in other places. You have these workshops, and you come back and you can try and implement the best of the best here. So I think it's really important. So the budget crunch is not good. But
I think we have $1,600, and the cost is anywhere from $36,000 to $4,000 to send somebody. $4,000 probably now. send somebody. Now, I suppose you could find another hotel that's not where the conference is being held at $220 a day, but I heard there's another one down the street for about $190.
There's a fishing shack over here.
Fishing shack is where I'd rather spend my whole time there. Unfortunately, I haven't really.
Well, it's gonna be the same, we're gonna say problem, because WAFWA's gonna have, they're on schedule for Saskatchewan and, a lot of faraway places. So, it's not unusual to have one farther away. They're not all gonna be in San Francisco, because if you look at the schedule, we got one due for Saskatchewan and stuff, so you're gonna have the same problem traveling other places. Commissioner Ray?
No, Mr. Chairman, and one thing that came very obvious in WAFWA was it's not just an educational process, although it is that. Many vital policies are developed and passed at WAFWA that have direct effects upon the state, and especially have direct potential effects upon the state, and it appears that more and more that'll be happening in the future. Basically, either you need to be going to WAFWA wholeheartedly, as both the department and the commission, or nothing. It's like either we're spending a tremendous amount of money for memberships, far more than our travel budgets, to be part of WAFWA and WAFWA, and if we're going to spend that money to be a part of these organizations, to purchase their materials, to spend the dues, then we need to follow up on that and be a part of that policy making process. If we're not going to go far enough and not be a part of that policy-making process, then maybe we should just sit out altogether. Go or don't go. So, and that being the case, I think that's appropriate this time. The chairman should probably go, and if we get somebody else, that'd be great.
Commissioner Burrow?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. In looking over the materials regarding it, there are several meetings there of the Commissioners Committee, which, I don't have nothing. I'd have to rely upon what you guys have seen as to what goes on. But I noticed several other seminars that would probably be in the best interest of somebody that one person is not going to be able to cover. As Tom said, I realize it's an expensive process. It just concerns me that we're not getting enough commissioner involvement in some of these issues that look like they might. Some of them are right down our alley right now. Mule Deer Working Group, and there's several other committees that look like they might need some attention. But I have no idea what to say about the budget issue. It's just that I'm just saying that I don't think one person is going to be able to cover it.
We will have enough money. I think we can find to send one, but in order to send two, we'd have to go to IFC, because I knew that was going to be a question. I asked Lynn Hetrick, and he said without hesitation, the governor's office would not support us going to IFC asking for out-of-state travel for the commission.
This is next fiscal year, right?
Yes.
So it'd be in next year's budget.
$1,600 available.
It'd be next year's budget, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So we have X number of dollars budget next year, and we wouldn't know if we run short till the end of the year, right?
What's budgeted?
For out-of-state travel, we're budgeted for $1,688. It's all in one category for the commission, all the in-state and out-of-state's all lumped together. But based on what we've been spending on in-state, we'll end up short if we send, if we incur more than the $1,600.
For FY11, there's 1,600.
Yes. That was based on that was the actual out-of-state that was incurred in FY08.
We're going to have to, and I've directed the finance committee that we got to present a recommended budget for the commission to you. I don't think the commission has ever seen a budget, but the commission has to, like the cabs, they submit a budget, and when I see the cabs budget higher than the commission budget, I have a problem with that, and I'll direct our finance committee to come with a budget to give to you, a recommended budget for you based on this, and the other thing is, other states Idaho sends 3 people. I mean, I know they got more money on this, but most of the other states send more than one person. And what does WAFWA cost us a year to join? What's our due? 40,000?
No, I don't think it's that much. I don't know what the number is off
It's
the top
less
of my
than
head.
5,000.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
WAFWA and OFWA would be
There's different
parts of the same. You start adding those together, there's a lot.
Yeah. I don't know what the number is just for the membership
And
dues.
I think what Patrick said is something important that you have to recognize. The budget, the 1,600, the number is based on what was actually spent in 2008. So
Right.
the way this whole budgeting process of the state is a strange bird. It's not the way, it's not zero-based. In other words, what do you need to go ask for it from the budget? You're a victim of what you spent. And then sometimes, we got to estimate, well, what's a pair of binoculars going to be, down the road when we start constructing budgets. So it's a
Well,
deal.
But we've
Director, does
never
that mean that-
increased. Excuse me. So we've never increased. We just take last year's and just put it in this year. We've never really taken a look at the commissioner, say, well, what are we gonna do? So if we've always had one commissioner go to WAFA, we'll never change it unless we say, well, do we wanna change it, put two in? And that's why the commission, finance committee should take a good look at that and make recommendations to you of what we think we'd like to do, because we have the same problem with the cabs, and when their budget's higher than the commission, I just have a big problem with that,
And we do know that the next summer meeting is going to be in Big Sky, in Montana. And then the following year, if, normally the Saskatchewan, that they back out. That's been history. And then it's in Hawaii. But I can't imagine some countries going to Hawaii is like going on an out-of-country trip. So I'm not sure that'll go either.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Capero?
under that scenario, if the 1688 that you have budgeted for next year is what we had left in this year's travel budget, is that correct? That's what the figures I looked at the other day.
No, each fiscal year is independent of each other.
I understand that, but the ending amount that I saw in the financial report that we looked at the other day
Mhm.
showed we had $1,688 that had not been spent as of this fiscal year, and you have budgeted $1,688 for next year. My question is this: if you had spent every last cent on travel this year, would we have a zero budget for next year?
No, they're not related. They're
can't roll.
totally independent.
Unfortunately.
That doesn't answer my question. My question is, you said it was based upon what was spent last year. As far as the new budget is concerned, if everything was
2008.
spent,
2008.
if everything was spent in 2008, what would our budget be for next year?
Whatever we spent in 2008. The amount we spent in 2008 is what our base budget is for FY10 and for what it is in
I
FY11.
think he said
They're
what was
independent
left-
to each
What
other.
was left at the end of the year in the budget that we lost, that we didn't carry forward? How much dollars in the commission budget was left over?
It doesn't, they don't roll it forward into
I
the
know,
back end of the
but there's a
commission
dollar
budget.
value that we had so much left over. We didn't spend it all.
That's correct. And any money that we don't spend goes back into our reserve. It doesn't roll
But
out
we
over
didn't
to.
spend it over, and it went back in the reserve.
Uh-huh.
So technically, we had more in the reserve, we could have reallocated that to a new budget, put that dollar value on. We still had the money available, it just went, and we had to start over at the base budget for the next fiscal year.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that go back into the reserve balance. I'd have to look at the category in total compared to what was originally budgeted to say how much was left over.
Why was it budgeted so low, like 6 there for travel?
Well, it's varied historically from year to year. I mean, back in '06, only $900 was spent on out-of-state travel. In some years it's been as high as $3,000 or $4,000. Back in '01, it was over $6,000. So it just depends on what travel's incurred, who goes where, how far it is.
Well, really, as far as the budget goes, what really is kind of upsetting, I think, to the commission is like, when they see, like at the White Pine County Advisory Board on the 11th, there was 9 NDOW employees there. And at Washoe County, there was 3. And, they're not getting paid, but it's comp time, but it's comp time a time and a half. So they're taking off a day of unproductive time by having, do we need 9 people in each cab? I mean, we could save some money and maybe allocate some of it towards the commission is what I'm talking about, because that's coming out of the same budget for the wildlife account, but do we need 9?
Well,
You know.
I'd have to find out whether those 9 people actually recorded that on their time sheet. But, you know, that, folks that, I know that Mike Doble the other night was there till 11 o'clock or whatever, the Washoe County cab, and he came in at 10 o'clock the next morning, so he flexed off. So it's, you know, it doesn't end up costing dollars out of the coffers that way. So, I mean, having the finance committee take a look at this to help build something, knowing that the next meeting is in Montana for the summer, what the out-of-state travel will be, I can guarantee it'll be half of what it is the last one.
Sure.
Commissioner Rain?
Thank you. Just on a point, on what memberships and, commission, it's interesting, I'm looking at the budget, that like membership dues, and this is all membership dues, I'm assuming, 29,792, of which a large portion is WAFWA, AFWA, or related things, and the entire commission budget, you're talking, was 27,773, was less than membership dues, the entire commission budget. So, if we're going to spend, then my only point there is, if we're going to spend such a huge portion on membership dues, when the entire commission's whole year budget is less than the membership dues we're paying towards our, well, at least participate.
Commissioner?
Or not spend them.
Commissioner Wallace?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a quick question. If our budget's $1,688 and someone goes to Alaska and spends $3,000 to $4,000, what does that leave us for the winter meeting? Then does nobody get to go? I mean, where does that put us come winter meeting?
Basically. And that's in Tucson. One of the things we had with commissioners in the past, I don't know, it's my fourth year, we sent 2, one of them, they shared a room, they paid their own expenses. I mean, that's how more people went.
I mean, I'd almost rather see 2 or 3 commissioners go to Tucson than to spend $3,000 to $4,000 and have us down to a negative in our budget. Where are we going to come up with the extra when we could actually send a couple to Tucson?
And the,
Summer is the big, the summer meeting is the big meeting, because everybody can travel, in theory, during the summer, and isn't it like twice the agenda?
And all the committees meet there officially.
Yeah.
In the winter meeting, it's a follow-up.
The business meeting.
Business meeting, progress reports, finalizing business items that were generated, initiated at the summer meeting.
this is where the commissioner is more proactive in getting the budget, because to say we go to one meeting, one WAFWA meeting, as far as I'm concerned, if we're not sending commissioners to them, I think we ought to withdraw from WAFWA. If we're not
Well,
gonna-
WAFWA provides way more benefits than just our staff attending or the commission attending. And WAFWA are the lobbyists, the lobbying arm of all state fish and wildlife agencies in Washington, D.C. Part of this figure, too, is assessments for Pacific Flyway Council, which we're a member of. There's a number of other associations that we're part of. So, and I said, we're sending, I think we can send one commissioner, but two would require a trip to IFC.
Even if they pay their own transportation?
Well, we're gonna have to come up with enough money to support one. So if the two wanna somehow cost share, so that two can use the $4,000 or 3,600 or whatever it finally pencils out to be, then that's one way to send two.
The registration is separate than that, right?
Registration, and then we've missed the early bird on that.
It's only
$450.
$50 difference.
Yeah, so it's $450 for two people, so, we're at $450 each. So that's one consideration. If we come up with $4,000, between the two commissioners and figure out, if they want to cost share some of the, each pay their own plane flight or something. And then the department pays for registration and hotel room and per diem or something like that.
The meals are more or less furnished, aren't they?
No,
No,
you have to pay.
Some of them.
some of them,
The banquet.
like breakfast is.
Yeah.
Just for reference, as of, what was that, week before last, the flight was 825 round trip per person, just for reference.
What are the rooms?
220.
20 or 225?
220 plus tax, so it's about 250.
What is the total rooms for the stay, total stay?
The
5 nights?
commissioners don't stay as long as the director, so I think it's like a
4
4
days.
figure.
I think 4 days
4
is what we
days
have
is the
figured.
commission.
How much?
It's 4 days.
4 days.
The cost-
It's about $1,000.
Send one less staff member and pay for it. Send two and two.
Commissioners retreats on the 16th, the director's retreat, and I told them I don't call it retreat unless I got a cigar in my mouth and my fly rod in my other hand. But these are working, brutal, long sessions, but they're very, very productive, and that's on the 16th. So you have to be there on the night of the 15th to participate in them. And then probably the 17th, night 20th, 4 days.
What if, Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Capurro.
what if we ask for a motion to allocate $4,000 for the commission to attend this session and leave it up to the director, the chairman as to how you want to do it, whether you want to split it or one go or whatever. I mean, that gets it off dead center if you're willing to put up the $4,000.
Is that what you had, was that what budgeted?
Well, I mean, the 1,600 is what was budgeted, but I say that all comes out of one pot for the
Yeah.
commission and the cabs entirely. So we have to manage that dollar figure. I mean, that's an amount that we can probably find a way to manage to one way or the other. I mean, this last year, we were only budgeted for 16 for out-of-state travel, but we've actually incurred 2,600 because the costs were more, and we managed to
If a commissioner
that.
has miles on airline, they can make their own reservation, save some money, right?
Absolutely.
I think we ought to try that.
You ready for a motion then?
Can you open it to public comment?
Not in our budget.
Well, it does impact with what you just said, if I can speak for 10 seconds. Because you said something, I just want clarity, Patrick.
The cab budgets are more than the commission.
No, but Patrick said that, and Paul Dixon for the record, you said that we have one pot of money for travel, cab, the commission, and NDOW. If we increase more funds for the commission to travel, and we have to maintain required travel for NDOW, where that residual comes from is out of the cab request for budgets, which we have not discussed yet. So how can you vote to do something that impacts the ability to deal with the cab budget later on the agenda? Is my only question.
Easy.
Yeah, well, I know it's easy.
Everything affects everything.
Yeah, everything.
Well, you told me earlier that we couldn't talk about quotas because it affected things later, but this decision will impact your ability to make
Right.
decisions on cab budgets requests, is my only point. Thank you for
Thank you.
acknowledging me.
If I could just add on to that, I mean, essentially that's correct. We manage to that category. If it turns out we need additional money than that, we have to do a work program. It's not impossible to change that total amount, but we have to do a work program. At the very least, that has to be reviewed by the Executive Budget Office, and if the dollar amounts are high enough, it's a trip to IFC. But it is that total pot of money, commission and cabs entirely. What we have line item for is for out-of-state, 1,600. That doesn't mean we don't have a little flexibility.
Hopefully, we'll have a finance committee look into this, make a recommendation to you on what we think the commission budget should be, just like the cabs. You want to make a motion,
Sure.
Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move that we, if the department can come up with the $4,000 figure, which includes out-of-state travel and the, you've got 1688 in that budget or whatever. But you've also got these other categories for money that you can draw from for the fees to is that an out-of-state budget, is that out-of-state travel a fee?
What we'll have to do is, we have an internal budget of 16,800.
Yeah.
What we'll have to do is, it's the entire budget for the commission and the cabs. What we'll have to do is go into that budget, come up with, first of all, we need to figure out what it's gonna cost to send somebody today. So the cost is $3,800. We'll have to find money within the cab/commission budget to make the difference between 1,680, 800, and 3,800. And then come up with that amount of money, and then,
Okay,
then what you're talking about is probably
okay. So,
spending that money, no matter how you do it. One or two.
so I won't put a number on it, I'll say what actual cost. I'm sorry, I interrupted my motion, but I'll start over.
Yeah, start over with
if
the
that's
motion.
okay. I would move that we send one commissioner to the summer meeting at WAFWA, and the department will come up with that amount of money for expenses, and if another commissioner wants to work with the chairman and split costs and that sort of thing, that would be appropriate as well.
Are you putting a
To
dollar
the
amount?
$4,000?
Are you putting a dollar amount to it?
We're looking at 30, I'm going to say actual cost, it's between $3,800 and $4,000.
You want a dollar? Commissioner Raines?
First, we need to, according to the agenda, we need to designate individuals.
The agenda
I'm
item says
following that.
one
Well,
commissioner.
but we can work with that, though, Mr. Legal Counsel, sir. Oh,
We need to get
You wanna
a
call for a
second before we
second?
discuss this.
my mistake, Mr. Chairman.
We need to get a second. We had a motion, the motion was, did you have a dollar value on the motion? I
We
didn't.
just have an estimate. We're saying actual cost estimate is $3,800, between $3,800 and $4,000.
Actually, that's one.
That's-
That's the price for one.
Yes.
And I'm assuming you're the designee, the chairman is going to attend. If another commissioner wants to attend and work with the chairman to share expenses, that would be,
We should put a dollar value on it.
appropriate.
He said they could scrape 4,000 of it. Not to exceed 4,000.
not to exceed 4,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Not to exceed 4,000 then. I would amend my motion to not to exceed 4,000.
Huh?
I think that's what the agenda
Yeah,
is
yeah.
clearly.
Do we have a second to the motion?
I'm thinking,
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
that doesn't seem like enough money to me. Even if one commissioner is gonna pay his own flight, that still wouldn't be enough.
No, it's one commissioner is what they're appropriating for.
You appropriated one, the motion was to send one commissioner, not to exceed 4,000, and if another commissioner wanted to go, it still could exceed 4,000, is that?
Correct. If you want to share a room,
So the number of commissioners could be more than one, as long as it didn't go over
Doesn't go over
4,000.
4,000.
They're gonna allocate 4,000 for one or two commissioners.
I've been to Alaska quite a few times. It always costs me
Did we get-
$8,000.
Wait, I can't,
The wife and I.
we can't discuss the motion till we get a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, we got a second by Commissioner Capurro, now we can discuss it.
Okay.
Commissioner Howe?
I don't think it's enough money. I've been there a lot. It's at least 8,000.
Mr. Chairman?
And I'm not attending no meetings, I'm fishing, but
Commissioner Capurro?
Well, that's based upon, I looked over the agenda on it there, and it's basically based upon the theoretical airline charge plus the registration fee plus the room fee. That's it. So if there's any extras beyond that, that's out of the pocket of whoever goes.
There's a
Per
chance
diem.
of another
you get per
hotel?
diem as well.
Another hotel? hotel,
I can check,
less?
but it is, sometimes it's cheaper to stay at the conference
Yeah.
hotel because the transportation costs.
If somebody else wanted to go and stay on a houseboat at nothing, they could make it, right?
Right. If we can find that deal.
Commissioner Mora.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One question I have is, in this 4,000 that's in the motion, 1,688 of it is gonna come out of that's gonna be what comes out of the account for this purpose, and the rest of the money of the 4,000? No, that's my question. Is this gonna be stealing money from the cabs?
Well, it would have to
Well-
come out of that same category, which
Same
includes the
category.
commissions and the cabs.
Commissioner,
Basically, all the motion does is not limit us to sending just one.
Right.
We're saying we're going to authorize one, and if the chairman wants to kick in a little of his own money, or another commissioner wants to pay his own way, and he has a friend in Anchorage and wants to, and can pull that off, or whatever, all we're doing is not limiting it to one, is the way I see the motion.
with a dollar value of 4,000, if he said he could find that Russell lot.
Well, we're just limiting it to one, not limiting it to one.
Commissioner, no? Anyone have any question on it? Everyone understand the motion? Huh? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Everyone for the vote, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
One opposed, motion carries.
Wow. Takes time.
Next, and then we'll take care of it. Next item on the agenda is the mule deer harvest strategies. Tony Wadley.